Do people ever tell you that you're too quiet, that you're reclusive, or that you overthink things? Well, in that case, there's a chance that you might be airy. But let's find out. I'm Itzel from Develop Your Element, and in this video we're going to talk about the key characteristics of the Airy type. But first, let me point out that we have 6 different personality types that we talk about in Develop Your Element, and each and every one of us is a mix of all of them. We are not just one thing. However, there are certain personality types that dominate, that are easier for us to operate in, and where we just feel more like ourselves, that are just so much more natural. And those are part of our biological essence. They're part of how our brain is wired and how it responds to different stimulus. The Airy type are the most flexible of the introverts. Why do we call them that? Well, for airy people, it's really important to just analyze and observe and understand how the world works. These are people that think very deeply and analyze very deeply and observe everything around them to understand, how do people work? How does society work? How does this thing work? And so their opinions tend to come second to that. And another thing is that they don't like being overstimulated. Because they're always observing everything and analyzing everything, things can become a bit too intense and too much for them. So they don't want to force their opinions on others. They don't want to voice really radical opinions. In case that there'll be drama, arguments, fights, intensity, things like that they'd rather not deal with. And airy people, they need a lot of personal space. They need that downtime. They need that alone time in order to process all the things that are going on, in order to analyze things, in order to form their own ideas. And it's very important for them to feel that they're thinking independently. So if they're in the middle of the chaos all the time, they get stressed, they get overwhelmed, they feel like they're losing their sense of control over life because they're going along with this and this and this and this. And they never had time to themselves to sit and think and reflect on their own thoughts. For airy people, it's really essential that they have a space that is entirely their own, where there are not going to be people coming in and out and nobody's going to be moving or touching their stuff, but it's simply their own space that they can design their way, they can organize their way, whether it's messy or clean is up to them, but where it's their space so they don't have to think or worry about anything external. Now, even when airy people do have very strong opinions or strong desires, they have a tendency not to voice them, or at least not voice them very outwardly or very openly, because they're looking for the right moment. They're looking for the right moment to say things to the right person where there'll be the most understanding and the least conflict. Now, if you notice somebody in a group, in a room, sort of veer towards the spaces where there's less people, hang out kind of, up against the wall or in the corner, and maybe only really talk a lot when they're one-on-one or with people that they really trust, there's a pretty good chance that they might have something airy going on. One of the really amazing things about airy people is that because they're always observing and analyzing things so deeply and with so much detail, they have a tendency to come up with solutions that other people might have missed, or ideas and concepts and ways of doing things that maybe are being overlooked by other people. So it's important, if you have airy people around you, to, in a calm moment, ask them what their opinions are, what their insights are, because they may not be expressing it, but they may have really, really brilliant ideas and solutions for things that are going on in the family, in the workplace, or in any other setting. Does any of this sound like you or somebody that you know? In that case, let us know in the comments and watch our next video about the precise, exact, and super direct metallic type.